Hello supply chain friends. So in my previous video, I covered the top 5 jobs which are at the risk of getting eliminated due to AI. And in this video, I will cover with you 5 jobs which are highly unlikely to be eliminated by AI. So watch this video till the end, because if you are doing one of those jobs, you can take a sigh of relief, and you may also get some ideas on how you can further future-proof your career in those jobs. My name is Jamil Hai, and I've been working in supply chain management positions across South Asia, Middle East, and North America for the last 22 years. And my mission is to help you build real life skills for your job and career that they don't teach you in college. And if you are preparing for a supply chain job interview anytime soon, you should definitely book a session with me, because I'm going to take your resume, the job description you're applying for, and based on a combination of those two and my 20 plus years of experience, will give you some laser guided tips and tricks which will maximize your chances of success. So go ahead now and book your session. Now, before we get into these 5 jobs which are highly unlikely to be eliminated, let me just refresh your memory with this graphic here, which I also covered in my previous video. Because in any job, especially supply chain jobs, you require 3 things. You need information, you need knowledge, you need wisdom. So what I did cover in my last video is that jobs which only require information processing and a little bit of knowledge are more highly at risk to be eliminated by AI. But jobs which require more knowledge and wisdom, which are the jobs I'm about to cover with you now, they are much highly unlikely to be replaced by AI, because those jobs require the kind of skills which AI, at least for now, hasn't really mastered. So as we go into the details of these jobs, keep this context in mind. Family of jobs which is less at the risk of getting eliminated by AI is some of these new adaptive roles which are coming up in logistics. So in my last video, when I was explaining the risk on jobs like warehouse operators, I did mention that if you are a warehouse operator or you are just someone who coordinates delivery appointments, you may want to upskill yourself on more AI enabled tools which are doing that same job. So these adaptive roles are exactly like that. So for example, if you become a supply chain AI analyst or an AI route optimization analyst or autonomous vehicle fleet manager, in this case, your responsibilities will be to monitor the output of the AI driven solutions, test different AI models, ensure compliance and safety for situations where AI doesn't work. So you are basically someone who is providing that human intelligence element on top of the AI output. And remember, this is extremely important, because in both my last couple of videos around AI, where in my podcast with Aaron Turkson, where he showed us how he uses ChatGPT, or in my discussions with Aileen Sandoval, we did cover this very important element that a successful AI solution is basically not an AI solution, it's an A plus H I solution. What do I mean by that? It's an artificial plus human intelligence solution, because if you just blindly take the output of AI, most likely that is going to turn into a disaster. So you need to add that human element on top of that, and therefore these jobs are classical examples where they are getting promoted from their classical job. So imagine if you were a forklift operator, or you were a delivery appointment manager or delivery appointment coordinator. Now, by upskilling yourself into these AI enabled tools which are doing the same thing. So for example, if you were as a forklift operator putting stuff away, now you know how to operate a robot which is going to put away stuff automatically. You have suddenly upskilled yourself, and you have future proofed your career, and therefore these jobs are here to stay. Now, the second job in supply chain, which is highly unlikely to be replaced by AI, is procurement management roles. So roles like procurement manager, supplier relationship manager, or vendor manager. Why are these roles not going to be replaced by AI? Simply because in these roles, AI cannot replicate the human element. So if you are, for example, working with suppliers, it's not just about sending and receiving a contract, right? It's about a lot of hard negotiation. It's about relationship management. It's about building trust and keeping that trust, right? So there are a lot of non-tangibles involved here. And therefore in procurement, while AI is already very prevalent in procurement, by the way, I have posted an article some time ago, which you can watch on my LinkedIn profile. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video as well, where I've given the example of Unilever, how they are transforming their procurement function by using AI to eliminate a lot of their quotations and only pass on those quotations to their procurement managers, which are shortlisted. So AI is there in these jobs, but not in the procurement management jobs, because like I said, in those jobs there is a huge element of human intelligence and human empathy and emotional intelligence. Therefore, these jobs are highly unlikely to be replaced by AI. The next family of jobs is mid to senior level supply chain planning jobs. Remember, in my last video, I did cover that if you are a junior forecaster or a junior demand planner, your job could be at risk because you are just cleaning up the data models and providing input to somebody more senior in your team. If you're doing one of those roles, you need to try to become a supply planning manager or a demand planning manager or a materials capacity planning manager. Because in these jobs, you are doing strategic planning, you are providing oversight to planning outputs, you are doing dynamic problem solving. Every day is a new problem. Planning managers were fighting with the COVID related problems 4 years ago. Today, they are fighting with the trade war related problems. So the nature of the problems changes, and therefore it's very unlikely that any AI model is going to replace these jobs, because your problem solving is becoming very dynamic, and therefore these jobs are always responding to unpredictable disruptions, and that is the reason why AI will not replace these jobs, because AI struggles with variable environments or novel environments, so it requires that human agility. And therefore, if you are a mid to senior level planning person in any supply chain organization, then your job is less likely to be impacted by AI. However, you still need to upskill yourself in the AI space, and that is very important for your development. And you can refer to the last podcast I posted on my channel, where one of my guests did show how he's using ChatGPT to improve his planning abilities in supply chain. The next family of jobs, which is highly unlikely to be impacted by AI, is supply chain transformation roles. So in these transformation roles, you could be a supply chain transformation manager, transformation director, supply chain IT project manager, or a business transformation leader. And in these jobs, what you're really doing is you are driving change management. You are identifying and implementing fit for purpose solutions. You are working very closely with the organization, and you are preparing the organization for the change. And therefore, these jobs are highly unlikely to be replaced by AI, because in these jobs, you require the cross-domain connections, you require judgment, you require wisdom as well, that I talked. And finally, the leadership jobs in supply chain, the top jobs, like the jobs of a supply chain VP or a supply chain director, plant manager, sourcing director, chief operating officer. These jobs are highly unlikely to be eliminated by AI. Of course, they will be shaped and affected by AI. But the reason why they will not be eliminated, because these jobs have responsibilities like strategic decision making, engaging the organization, delivering top line results. So these jobs are a combination of emotional intelligence, wisdom, judgment. They require cross-functional knowledge, they require strategic thinking, they require a lot of experience, the kind of experience which AI is still unable to process. So AI can process a lot of information history, but then the context of, hey, I implemented this solution in this company as a supply chain transformation director, and now as a chief operating officer, I'm replicating the same thing, but the challenges of this company are very different. So those kind of decisions cannot be made by AI, and therefore these leadership positions which require a lot of perspective are highly unlikely to be replaced by AI. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I've also made videos on topics like the top 5 supply chain planning software and the top 5 supply chain job search platforms, which you can watch by clicking over here. Keep watching.